Hello, and welcome to a review of Down Colorful Hill by Red House Painters, released in 1992, with me and Snorlax.
I'm your co-host, Snorlax.
I'm your host, May Miss Marvelous, and today we will be talking about one of my favorite albums of all time. This is a slowcore record from the early 90s, which was kind of around the time when a lot of slowcore was coming out. And I love slowcore so much. Slowcore is one of my favorite genres of music in general. Albums like Geek the Girl, Stratosphere, obviously the Red House Painters albums that alone kind of make it a best genre contender. Just such a beautiful genre of music, and kind of in of itself is a subgenre of folk rock or just folk.
Slowcore is easily one of the worst genres just on the basis alone that it tricks you into thinking that these mediocre musicians have any worth just because they're playing their music slower.
Now, I don't think that's entirely fair, is it? I think there's plenty of slowcore that moves at a brisk enough pace. Just because it is slow-moving music doesn't mean that it can't have interesting melodic bursts and the sort.
You know, I can count on a single hand how many slowcore songs have interested me, and none of them have been any of the songs you've shown me.
Well, I would definitely argue Duster. Fuck, we're getting off topic. Okay, Down Colorful Hill. It's a beautiful, fantastic album. It's deeply melancholic and lonely. I think the entire crux of this album is Mark Kozelek's loneliness. He's writing from the perspective of someone who feels very isolated in their lives. Compared to a lot of his later work, you can see a lack of experience and a lack of foresight that pervades this album, this deep sadness that doesn't really feel like it can go anywhere. 24 as an opener is this incredible piece on aging and the way in which we give ourselves up to the idea that we will all age and die one day. It's like a fight between the person that we want to be and the person we inevitably will become. It's about letting life pass you by, thinking that you'll have it down. You'll have it down, man. Like, eventually, I have to start living my life. I have to start doing something meaningful, or else what is this all for? And once you get to a certain age where you feel like you should have had it down, it just feels very deeply, tragic. I find this to be a very tragic intro, and something that speaks to a certain sense of universality to this album. This isn't just the deep personal complex sadness that Mark Kozelek is feeling, but it's a sadness that he sees in everyone around him. And then we have Medicine Bottle, which is just one of the greatest songs of all time. I don't know how else to say it. It's this incredible epic of losing yourself in the isolation that you take from the world in order to feel okay about it all. Finding yourself in a relationship and really trying to feel understood by the world. Finding yourself even more isolated than before, because opening yourself up to another person is one of the hardest things that a person can do. I don't have enough words for this song, so I'll just keep it as this is the centerpiece of the album. It says so much, and I have so much love for it in my heart. Then you have Down Colorful Hill, which is a very interesting, very long song. I think if you were to enter this album as someone with a background in post-rock, post-hardcore, you might find yourself a little bored by this one. But I really think that this repetition within the work itself is extremely useful and important. I think it's about giving space for the listener just to bathe in the sound. In that way, you're fully submerged in its atmosphere.
It's got a smarmy atmosphere. Terrible song.
I think that this song's incredibly beautiful. I wouldn't call it smarmy. I don't even know if that's a word. Then the second half of the album comes, and
finally they stopped making the song so goddamn long.
Well, yes, I mean, the songs become a bit shorter as a whole, but I think this part of the album is more about expanding on the ideas that the first half gives you. Namely, you have the song Lord Kill the Pain, which feels like the end point to this anger and sadness and loneliness. Just this incredibly destructive song that feels evil. There's no resolution, there's no comfort, it's just pain. And in a lot of ways it reminds me of a Smiths song, both in the way it sounds and in the way that Mark Kozelek sings his lines. Lord, kill the pain. Lord, kill the pain. And finally, the album ends on the song Michael, which I think wraps a lot of the themes back around into the first song with the reminiscing adolescent days. Talks about Mark Kozelek's friend, Michael, who he used to be best friends with, who's just disappeared from his life and he can't find him anymore. Not only is it that he literally doesn't know them anymore, but I think Michael as a symbol represents the loss of childhood, that memory that vanished, and you just feel like a part of yourself is lost in that emptiness. I think it's strange how sad and unresolute this album is. I think that it's one that doesn't really try to seek an answer through any of this stuff either.
Oh, so basically it's completely pointless then?
Hey, it's not pointless. I think it's an exploration of intense loneliness and anger to do with all of the things in Mark Kozelek's life at this point. I'm going to give this album an 8 out of 9. This is an absolute masterpiece record. My favorite songs on it are 24, Down Colorful Hill, Medicine Bottle, Japanese to English, and Michael. What are your ratings and favorite songs, Snorlax?
I give this album a 4 out of 10. It's more boring than anything else. It's not offensive, but it's just fine. My favorite song is Lord Kill the Pain.
Alright, well there you have it. Till next time, I hope you have a lovely night, and we'll talk to you all later.